Yo, I'm studying the book of Hebrews, and the author heeds this warning. One of the warning is there's the audience, there's believers and there's non-believers. But these non-believers are hanging around with the believers. They're going to church, right? They're reaping the benefits of a believer, the blessings, the joy, the fellowship. But here's the cross. They want Jesus as Savior, but they don't want Him as Lord. Having Jesus as Lord is fully committing your life to Him and obeying all of His commandments. Basically, they're going to church, but still leaving the church and doing what they were doing before. There's really no change. They might be a little better person because they're hanging around with other believers that are in the faith. And if anytime you hang around with better people, hopefully you conform to them and you become a better person, right? And then in contrast, if you hang around with bad people, you're gonna end up being more bad. And so the warning is there's gonna be people in church that are not saved. And so in the parable of the sower, stay with me, I'm gonna read a few verses. So basically, there's going to be 4 different type of people in the church. And the first 3 were not saved. So in Matthew chapter 13, verse 18, here, then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in his heart. This is the one on whom the seed was sown beside the road. The one on whom the seed was sown on the rocky places, this is the man who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no firm root in himself, but is only temporary. And when affliction and persecution arises because of the word, immediately he falls away. He did not lose his salvation. He never had it. And the one on whom the seed has sown among the thorns, this is the man who hears the word, and the worry of the world and deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. This is not a person who was saved and got unsaved, had fruit, and then lost his fruit. You can't lose your salvation because every Christian will bear fruit. This guy, in the Greek, unfruitful means he never had any fruit. Okay? So verse 23, and the one on whom seed was sown on the good soil, this is the man who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and brings forth some 100, some 60, some 30. So we will know who the unbelievers are in the church when you experience it before. You invite someone to church, they even like, yeah, I want to accept the Lord, but then all of a sudden, back to their mess. You have some that's going to come to church, even serve at the church, then all of a sudden persecution hits. It's too much for them to handle. As believers, we are going to get persecuted and we're going to suffer, but then we're going to produce fruit out of it. We're going to grow from it and mature from it. We're just not going to walk away. In 1 John chapter 2, it says that they left among us because they weren't from us. People are going to come and go. And today there's so many options for churches. If someone didn't like one church, they go to another church and another church. It doesn't mean that they're saved. They're saved because they're going to go 100, 60, and 30-fold. And so the warning for us at the church today, there are going to be people at church that's going to reap the benefits of being saved, but they're not saved. Now, I'm not telling you I know exactly who they are because that's God's job, not my job. But we do have a job to examine fruits. When in Matthew chapter 7, when it comes to examining false teachers, it says that you will know them by their fruits. And Jesus also said that whatever comes out of the mouth is from the heart. And so you could tell sometimes when you're at church and you're in that setting, everyone looks like a Christian. Then you go to an outside setting, and then all of a sudden you find out they have a potty mouth. They have just bad habits, They're not even a struggle because they have no convictions of it. So once again, I'm not the judge of that, but at least we could examine the fruits. Because in any given Sunday, everyone looks saved. Everyone got their hands up in the air. Everyone got their Bible out. But what are they doing outside of the church? What's going to matter? How are they treating people? Here it is. Check this out. If you're saved, God says that you must forgive. You must love your enemy. One of the most hidden under the rug sin is the unforgiving heart. Yeah, I understand that some wounds are deeper than others. Then get counseling. Counseling is okay. Counseling is available at your church. But if you're a true believer, the true test, I believe, my opinion, is to be able to forgive those who hurt you. Whether it's way in the past or it was just earlier today. Some people have said that you could not be more like God when you're able to forgive those who hurt you. So don't just have Jesus as your Savior. You also must have Him as your Lord. Peace.